North Macedonia, where history's stuck in an infinite respawn loop. And Ohrid. Oh, that's the ancient lakeside town the devs definitely over-designed. A 5-million-year-old lake experienced in drowning civilizations. UNESCO calls it a treasure, but the real magic is in how the lake still hums lullabies, and the stones remember what the world has forgotten. Who dares code a nightmare into the timeless beauty of a town where the lake sings lullabies and the 365 churches keep secrets? Two brothers, Bobby and Zane, from a postcard-perfect town, decided to traumatize games worldwide. Bobby manages visuals, modeling, texturing, animation, sounds, and marketing, while Zane works on programming, systems, and general game design. Their new spawn, Chasmal Fear, a game so gnarly it'll make your GPU sob.
MystiveDev started out like maybe 14 or 10 years ago, unofficially I might say. A lot of people also ask us what does Mystive mean. Mystive is basically two words, mysterious detective. We always wanted to make games, and everything started with those gaming editors like Warcraft, like Elder Scrolls, Half-Life and so on.
I was into development since baby. So after playing the games, I always thought like, okay, how it is like creating something.
Creating the world, you're creating the rules. Basically, you feel like virtual god. We always wanted to be game developers. Ever since we were kids, we would just sit and talk and say we love to have our own indie game development studio. When we look at games, we see them as different worlds with countless possibilities and things you can do. We always wanted to do a job that we would love and not do a job that's boring to us. Lake Ohrid is one of the oldest. It's 3 million years old. It has over 10,000 endemic species in the depths of the lake. That contributes to the overall mystery, the overall secrets
the experience
of Chasmal Fear. There are a lot of things that we still haven't found in the depths of Lake Ohrid. So maybe the mystery itself of Lake Ohrid and Ohrid as town is what inspired us for Chasmal Fear. I'm doing more of the visual stuff, he's doing the programming, but since we are working together, sometimes it happens our responsibilities to overlap. So sometimes I do a bit of programming, although not very good, honestly. He's the programmer. He does marketing stuff like graphic design and so on. There are a lot of overlapping things when you're just two indie developers, but yeah, that's the working day.
Mostly I focus on the programming stuff, even though sometimes we mix. Sometimes I do marketing, even though that's mostly Bobby. He's doing the graphical stuff, animation, modeling and stuff like that, but that's pretty much it.
Chasmal Fear is a sci-fi bodycam survival horror game. So we've seen a lot of bodycam games trending all over the internet, but they're mostly cop simulators and so on. But we wanted to try something different, and we went the route of being a sci-fi game. There are a couple of bodycam games, but they're mostly cop simulators or walking simulators with a bodycam perspective. But there wasn't a game which was sci-fi and futuristic and set in the future and deep underwater and be a bodycam game.
It adds like a super cool effect and also adds to the horror experience.
Welcome to Ohrid, where history isn't just old, it's practically haunted. From the eerie silence of St. Naum Church to the dark, endless depths of Lake Ohrid, a place that's been swallowing secrets for 5 million years. The Bay of the Bones, Stilt Village, where Bronze Age builders played hardcore survival mode, no saves, no retries. The Drim River cuts through the land like nature's own scar, and up on the hill, the Church of Caneo stands there, looking down like it knows too much. So what does all this have to do with Chasmal Fear? Well, when you blend this much history with sci-fi horror, things get interesting.
I want players, when they play the game, to feel helpless, to feel dread, to feel curious at the same time, because Chasmal Fear is set in the depths of the ocean in a large sci-fi abandoned city. There's a lot of ground that needs to be covered, a lot of things that are hidden that can be explored. The main focus of Chasmal Fear is to feel horror, to feel dread of the fear of the unknown.
I can see it clearly. A world free from the constraints of our current existence. A realm where we can truly thrive. I'll make sure to document every detail of our meeting. Right, and I can't... Oh God. Oh God.
The first thing I do is I slowly start building up the tension and the atmosphere. See what I can use firstly without showing the monster. Start with subtle sounds, unexplained noises in the distance, some atmospheric sounds and so on. All of those spark the imagination of the players, and they're always wondering. They have this fear of the unknown, like wondering what's out there. Will it attack me? Will it not? And so on. We want to introduce an interesting, deep story, but at the same time, we don't want to force the player to experience. There are a lot of players who just want to play the game and shoot things and just run around without experiencing any lore. So we wanted to appeal to both of these audiences. You never know what's gonna happen next, and this adds a lot to the replayability of the entire game. Besides all of those atmospheric sounds, we also have a main soundtrack which was composed by cicada sirens. There were a lot of reactions. There were a lot of YouTubers who already played the demo, and most of them had terrifying reactions at the first ever jump scare, which happens like 3 minutes into the game. So there was a monster coming out from a vent and rushing past with loud noise, and the reactions were priceless.
I think one streamer even jumped out of the chair and
threw the mouse.
Yeah, threw the mouse.
Yeah. That's the best. And the second one is when they see the Juggernaut by the end of the demo. When it starts chasing them, that one is also very good.
Yeah, I get scared a lot, to be honest with you. Even we as the devs, we don't know most of the time what will happen next. Our events are randomized, the sounds are randomized, the sanity system that we have.
Building a terrifying moment is really hard. Why? Because if you go too much with building tension, sometimes it can get boring. But if you add the terrifying moment in the beginning, it will come out as a cheap jump scare. How we do it? We basically have a QA team, thanks to our publisher, who are constantly testing the game, and we always listen to their feedback because it's very important to hear what other people think. We always listen to our community, and one thing I really love is that they're so passionate and they love providing feedback and providing new ideas and suggestions, and we always listen to our community.
North Macedonia, where history lies buried in layers of mystery. Welcome to Ohrid, a slice of heaven on earth where the ancient lake shimmers like a dream. But don't let the beauty fool you. Beneath the surface, secrets lurk and shadows dance. From the Bay of the Bones, where forgotten lives linger beneath the surface, to the authentic tavernas where devs find respite between code and chaos, we explore the making of Chasmal Fear. Here, in history's shadow, two brothers, Bobby and Zane, craft a horror experience unlike any other. Welcome to a world where the game and the lake are more than backdrops. They're part of the nightmare.
It all started with an email, which then continued with meetings.
Our main focus was always on building community, always building audience, and building the overall MystiveDev brand. And we managed to get the attention of Wandering Wizard. They took the role of doing the hardest thing that takes most of our time, which is marketing. So we are very grateful for that.
Making some coffee, having a breakfast. Yeah, afterwards I'm checking my emails to see if I have some email. Checking Jira to see if there are any ongoing issues that needs fixing or priority issues that needs fixing. Afterwards I dive into Unreal to work for a few hours. Dive back to working and fixing the problem if I'm stuck on it.
I'm the guy who's more panicky. So the thing is, like, when I encounter a bug or I find something in a game, I'm panicking that much that the first thing I do is write to him. Like, oh my God, we have a bug, we need to fix this. There wasn't a game which was sci-fi and futuristic and set in the future, deep underwater, and be a body cam game. So that's probably one of the main pitches for the game. There's a lot of lore and a lot of background story to the game itself. So people who love story and who love lore and who love ancient things and alien things, they will definitely love the story of Chasmal Fear. We used audio logs, we used emails, we used video laptops, we used holograms, which are basically optional, and if you don't want to listen to them, if you don't want to read them, you can just skip them and move on with the game. But if you are a fanatic of lore and story, they'll definitely show you a new sci-fi world, which in a way is with ancient beings. This might sound cryptic, but it's like past and the future meet in a single place.
I would add a couple of them actually. Probably add sliding to the game.
Make it more actiony.
Yeah, make it a bit more actiony, sliding. Add mod support, I would say. I would love to see, after players play the game, what would they want to or create from that what we make from the game.
One thing I would love to add in Chasmal Fear, I would definitely make the Magna City much larger and make the game feel more, although it's horror, yeah, the horror aspect will remain, but I want it to be more RPG.
Ohrid, a town where the air is filled with the scent of adventure and the hum of creativity. Nestled by a lake that mirrors the sky, this gem is more than meets the eye. Here, two brothers dare to dive into the darkness, crafting horrors from the depths. Chasmal Fear was born from the collision of indie freedom and raw creativity. Let's break down the creative chaos, the fears that fuel the game, and how indie developers are rewriting the rules, one terrifying jump scare at a time. Welcome to the grind of indie horror, where passion is the code and fear is the reward. Let's go.
Yeah, so indie developers are basically those guys that are most passionate about indie games. And one thing I can say is that we have the creative freedom that AAA studios don't have. So we are capable of experimenting with different things, with different resources and stuff like that. Indie games have freedom and can create interactive experiences and innovative mechanics that AAA studios don't dare do. So yeah, indie games are basically the guys that are pushing the limits in the gaming industry. One advice I can give to beginner indie game developers, and they're gonna hate this advice, they're gonna hate it so much: learn marketing and branding. That's the first thing you need to do before you start anything. Before you start development, before you start planning, marketing is the number one thing.
If I need to pick only one, it would be, do not be afraid to learn. There will always be problems, keep going on.
Don't be afraid to experiment and start testing early.
The freedom, mostly the freedom of doing stuff like how you want or how you even imagine things how to go.
When we look at games, we see them as different worlds with countless possibilities and things you can do. Sometimes it happens for us to work like 19 or 20 hours in a single day. For example, I just remembered a few days ago we had this critical bug that we had to fix, and we had a lot of coffee, and we worked around 20 hours and slept only 4. But yeah, those are the deadlines, so we gotta do it. So what keeps us motivated? The primary thing is you're building something that's, I can say, that's coming out from your soul, I might say. So the inspiration, the creativity, and everything that you see in Chasmal Fear basically has been inspired one way or another from our personal experiences or from books and movies and TV shows and games that we love. My biggest fear is the fear of sharks. I haven't seen shark in real life, honestly, but when I was very little, I managed to see Jaws, and I was terrified of it. I went on a vacation to Egypt, and that's when that bad thing happened, guy being eaten by a shark, and that terrified me a lot more. That event and my love for Lovecraft, so H.P. Lovecraft and all the Cthulhu mythos and fear of the unknown, the fear of the depths, all of these things were some of the main inspirations to create Chasmal Fear.
Urid, where whispers of local lore blend with the energy of today's creators. From the soothing currents of the Drim River to the inspiring views at St. Naum and St. Caneo, two brothers are diving headfirst into the whirlwind of indie game development. Their passion fuels code that's as intricate as it is chilling, crafting a nightmare that will leave more than just your controller in pieces. This is their grind, raw talent and a drive to push boundaries, where brotherhood meets bug fixes, and the real horror is the journey itself.
We had to turn off Lumen, which is, again, the lighting system of Unreal Engine 5. We had to do a lot of tweaks, like turn off anti-aliasing and stuff like that. We had to do a lot of things to optimize the game, but thanks to that, now the game performs way better than before, and it can perform on lower-end machines. On the other side, we had to sacrifice some quality stuff, like previously the game was way too realistic. It had like immensely powerful, immensely good immersive graphics. So we had to tone down some of the stuff, but it's a necessary sacrifice in order to provide a game that's playable on many machines. What I would say to my younger self is reach out early, talk to them, and always try to listen to their advice and their suggestions, because after all, we are doing the games for the community, for the gamers.
One piece of advice I would give myself is to worry less, since there will always be challenges. And I think as long as you're eager to learn stuff, it shouldn't be a problem to overcome those challenges. Mostly Unreal Engine, that's the engine that we use. Unreal Engine 5, yeah. Also Visual Studio, some parts, some code I had to do in C++.
I use 3ds Max for modeling. I use ZBrush for sculpting. I use Audacity for combining various sound effects that we find or we buy or we just record somewhere. So I also use Substance Painter, which is one of the best programs for texturing and stuff like that.
It's a very interesting question. I think a lot of people ask us this because they think that we're in disagreement. But we actually have the same taste when it comes to development and even playing games as to guys.
Yeah,
I think that's easy stuff for us.
Yeah, we love the same things. We love computers ever since we were kids. So as gamers first and then as game developers, I think we don't have any issues. And I think it's a great advantage to be brothers in this industry. I'm gonna go with the Nemesis system. The Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, where every other boss AI learns from the previous experiences in both how you play the game, the strategies, your weaknesses, your strengths, and also the lore. And the next AI will remember what you did with the previous AI, not just in terms of mechanics, but also it will have, in a way, some sort of vengeance towards you. It will want to avenge the friend that you just destroyed.
I would think more like Dead by Daylight. Should be fun.
Urid's old town feels like an open-world game map. Winding alleys, hidden locations, and more side quests than you can handle. In the heart of this ancient town stands the Antic Theatre, a stage that once echoed with the cheers and cries of spectators long turned to dust. Today, it serves as a backdrop for two brothers driven by a shared passion for crafting digital horrors that blur the line between history and nightmare. Their creative process unfolds against a backdrop of Byzantine churches and limestone shores, where local legends whisper that some things should remain in the depths. What dark secrets wait to be unearthed in their creation? Perhaps some nightmares are best left undisturbed.
I would say the entire game, because we have a lot of different and a lot of unique things in Chasmal Fear. But one thing in particular, if I could pick one, I'd say that it's the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut is the only invincible monster in Chasmal Fear, and it will appear randomly. So fans of Resident Evil, beware, because all you can do is run. You can't shoot it, you can't defeat it.
It's the last part of the game, is the boss fight that I would love to see how players will interact with the boss, and also the level design that Bobby did. So I'm so excited to see the players playing this last level.
My favorite part will be probably the civilian sector because it gives a more humanized approach to the game, and also at the same time it makes Magnus City feel as if it's existing in the real world.
Magnus City, the marvel of the 21st century. Nestled deep beneath the ocean surface, Magnus City is the first and foremost underwater metropolis, a beacon of human ingenuity and innovation.
The second point is the mutation system, which we are really proud of.
Yeah.
Mutation system, basically what it does is once you kill a monster, the monster has a chance to mutate. That chance is always randomized. And it has a chance to mutate into one of several different monsters. And each of the monsters have their own strengths, their own weaknesses, their own AI behaviors.
Yeah, they provide unique gameplay.
Then we have what is called the sanity system. The idea behind the sanity system is it serves as a psychological horror element, at the same time providing lore, providing different visuals, and what's the most interesting thing is all of these sanity events basically can happen randomly, so they have a random chance to happen.
But there is no order here. There is only change.
And I will also add the fire pipe. I think that players can create an interesting interaction with the monsters, so I'm looking forward to this.
One very fun thing is there are a lot of events which can happen only if you're playing multiplayer. If you're playing single player, they won't happen. If one player dies, the other one has to use a scanner to scan the DNA of that player. And then run to a revival station, which provides additional sense of horror and fear that they might lose. They might be on one side of the map and they need to go to the other side of the map just to bring that DNA and put it in the revival station and revive the players. So there is a cheat code in Chasmal Fear. What does it do? It makes the player immortal, basically invincible, and it gives unlimited ammo. But I'm not gonna tell what it is. I'm gonna leave it to players to find it.
The end, or just the start? For Chasmal Fear's brother duo, the nightmare's still alive. From killer mechanics to sneaky Easter eggs, these indie devs are just heating up. This final episode dives into their grind, creative chaos slamming into raw guts. What's next for Bobby and Zane? More Chasmal Fear stakes or a leap into fresh terror? One thing's clear, their story's only kicking off. It began with a creepy idea and some code. Now it's ready to haunt us. So the big question, did these dev bros survive building it? Let's see.
Yes, there are a lot of Easter eggs in Chasmal Fear. We want to encourage players to explore them, to find them in Magnus City, to have that curiosity to look into different areas in different places. Basically, it has a lot of open areas and a lot of exploration. A game isn't really done until you say it's done. So basically, yeah, one thing that helps us a lot is probably the deadline and maybe a bit the publisher.
Yeah. Firstly, planning, I would say, then the milestones.
Good planning goes a long way.
Really good question. It happened in our testing map, because it's open map, it's not closed like the main game. It was problem with physics, with our AI, where we used and testing the shotgun. We are adding impulse, so we used that on the AI, and the AI went into the air and started moving, spinning in circle like a helicopter, so it was really, really fun.
Yeah, physics problems are most interesting in video games, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Magnus City offers unparalleled opportunities for scientific exploration, marine conservation, and sustainable living.
There was this thing that I clicked something wrong and it messed up GitHub completely on my end, and I got so terrified because I thought that it's
the game
over.
Is gone,
we lost the game. So we lost the backup on GitHub, and thanks to Zane here, we managed to find the last thing we did and just find the last version and move on. Now we, after we release the game, we have to provide some support for the game itself, maybe for a year or two and so on. If there are any critical bugs or issues or anything coming out,
Yeah, we're gonna squash those bugs.
Yeah, we're gonna have to address those bugs and fix them and update the game on Steam. We are planning on adding maybe some additional languages besides the already 14 available languages. And for the next project, we are planning on doing, firstly, just to take a break, we're gonna do a small game, small horror game, very personalized experience, but we're gonna focus heavily on the psychological horror instead of jump scares. So, but it's gonna
No
be a
spoilers,
short
by the
horror
way?
experience, yeah.
It's kind of RPG, but not fully. Survival crafting.
We already have a game design document ready for a survival crafting game, but it's still kept in our drawer, and I think there will come a time when we'll be ready to do it. That one will be probably the best game we ever did so far, and the biggest project, yeah. So that one will be, I can only share it, it's gonna be multiplayer.